In the age of mind-blowing graphics and over-the-top cinematics, the people at Devolver decided, you know what, let's kick it back to the NES era. Hey there friends, it's Kodiak here, one half of the team behind Legacy Gaming, and today we're diving in and checking out Loop Hero, a truly fascinating game that combines roguelite, deck building, RPG elements, and so much more to create an experience unheard of in the modern era. But is being too unique always a good thing? And is Loop Hero really worth your time? It's no secret that the folks at Devolver Digital have a knack for publishing and sometimes developing unique and often spectacular games. Hotline Miami, Katana Zero, Enter the Gungeon, Ape Out, the list goes on. And while few ever see meteoric success, the company has an incredible track record of working with talented developers to bring new experiences to life. That's what really led me to check out Loop Hero, a game that looks like it belongs in the late 80s. Right off the bat, I could tell I was about to experience something different, albeit rooted in something familiar. It's a weird and somewhat unsettling experience knowing that I'm playing something incredibly modern, but staring at something stuck in the past. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what Loop Hero actually is. For anyone in the dark, Loop Hero really can't be defined by a single genre. Sure, it taps into the spirit of roguelite, deck building, and RPGs, but honestly, it's a completely unique experience, and I don't think labeling it does anyone any good. You play as a hero, stuck on an endless loop, trying to unravel and bring humanity back to some semblance of normal after an all-encompassing dark event seemingly destroys the world. Pretty cheery, right? The game taps into some of the richest parts of RPG history. The small narrative sections are delivered via text with some plinky sound effects to accompany the experience, and the overall flow feels very rooted in gaming history. But besides that, Loop Hero is as polished as any modern game I've ever played. As I mentioned, you're stuck in a loop, randomly generated at the beginning of each expedition. You'll swap between two phases, adventuring and planning. While adventuring, your character will move on a path set before them, taking on enemies, collecting loot, just trying to survive. When things get a bit too hectic, you'll stop time and take a minute to collect your thoughts and make some important gameplay decisions that will ultimately affect the outcome of this particular expedition. This is where the classic experience of the past starts to blur magnificently with the modern systems of today. Your role as a player is to basically DM, that's Dungeon Master for anyone unaware, the entire experience, changing the flow of the expedition in real time. You'll use a deck of cards pre-selected by you during that run, which will change the nature of the game board. You'll introduce new heroes, create new scenarios for your hero, and ultimately shape the adventure. With each change, you'll have to grapple with the impact. Things progress slowly, but as you fill up the board, introduce new monsters, and deck out your hero and gear, things will quickly escalate. One of the most satisfying things about Loop Hero is figuring things out, and I know that sounds a bit stupid, but it's just one of those games. Tiles have interactions, and if you discover one of them, well, now you know just a bit more information that you can use to create a more favorable scenario for your hero. Loot also plays a big role in pushing your hero forward. Learning what combinations work for each class is pivotal, and while builds aren't really a thing, they definitely are as you focus on certain stats that make cutting down monsters or surviving an onslaught of attacks a reality. This experience doesn't exactly go away either, as Loop Hero is a rather grindy game. It's not one of those indie titles you can just blow through in a few days. Of course you can, but if you're a normal individual with a job, kids, whatever, you're going to be enjoying this for quite some time, potentially weeks or months. Loop Hero also taps into the roguelite genre, and if you've been around this channel at all, you know that's one of my favorite video game genres to cover and explore. During your expeditions, you'll collect resources that you can take back to a base camp. Collect enough partial resources and you'll create complete resources, which you can use to expand that camp, which will unlock new NPCs, open up new resources to collect, and give you access to new opportunities. The game features multiple hero classes, and even though the loop gameplay stays rather consistent, albeit evolving, who you choose to play becomes a big part of your overall approach to the game as you work to set the universe right. To put it plainly, I started off with an open mind, experiencing one thing at a time. But after just a few hours of figuring out how the loop worked, I was voracious in my pursuit for more knowledge, one more run that would push me further along into the game. Loop Hero has this addictive quality to it that's almost infectious by nature. I would find myself doing something completely unrelated to the game, and my mind would just wander back to the loop, how I could improve, how I could be more efficient, and before long, I was back on the grind trying to push myself one more time. The roguelite elements take a long time to unlock in full, but they don't take a long time to access and understand. You'll start each run at square one with a new loop and nothing on the board, but over time, thanks to your camp and the resources you've collected, you'll be gaining power. Unlike other games in the genre, this is a much slower process, and I think it's one of the things that makes Loop Hero so special. It doesn't beat you over the head with new tricks at every turn. It's a slow burn that you come to appreciate and obsess about over time. It's definitely not a game you'll lose yourself to, but at the same time, you'll definitely lose yourself to it. Does that make any sense? In 2021, if you're looking at a game like Loop Hero and trying to understand how this is even relevant, you've already lost, because unless you're playing it, it's hard to appreciate what the Four Quarters team has created. You've got all the trappings of a modern game, deck building that's flexible and requires you to think about your decisions that'll have deep consequences if you don't. Roguelite elements that'll keep you moving forward without allowing you to outscale and overpower the content, a slow burn of progression that becomes that all-important carrot on a stick, and a gameplay loop, yep, I said it, that is so damn satisfying that you wondered how no one has thought of this idea before. I've said it a million times, systems make great games. This is 2021. We're smart enough to realize when a flashy game is just that, smoke and mirrors. And this ain't it, Chief. Not only is Loop Hero one of the most surprising games of 2021, it's one of the most satisfying, and if you haven't figured it out at this point, it's definitely worth your time. So for around $15, what are you getting? Loop Hero is a game rooted in tradition, but boldly moving video games as a whole forward. If you can get past the throwback graphics and really sink your teeth into the experience, you'll be hooked for hours on end. Loop Hero is the game I never knew I wanted, even though I knew I liked all of the things that it brings to the table. And if all of that feels a bit ambiguous, well, welcome to a review of a Devolver game. They have this understanding of all things unique in the video game space, and that doesn't stop with Loop Hero. Do yourself a favor and just check out this game. I promise you won't regret it. As with all things, I'm a big fan of clarity, so let me just spell this out for you. I'm under no obligation to talk about this game. We didn't receive a review copy of this game, no early access, nada, nothing, zilch. It's just a good game. We hope this video helped you figure out if Loop Hero is worth your time. If you enjoy this series and you want more worth your time videos in your feed, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to Legacy Gaming. If you choose to pick it up, I'd love to hear what you thought of the game, either in the comments below or head on over to our Discord. Our community of nearly 6,000 members is spread across dozens of great games, so if you're looking for some awesome people to hang out with and stay up to date on our videos, consider becoming part of the Legacy. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.